Hello everybody, my name is Vasko. Welcome to the studio. This is where all the editing magic happens on my monitors. And today I'm lit up by just the monitors, and there's a reason for that. I want to see if this EOS R5, besides being super heavy on my arm, this is like take 6. I want to see if this EOS R5 can handle low light situations, because I kind of like this environment and I want to film some videos in this kind of environment, which is obviously low light environment. So the question is, can the EOS R5 handle low light environments like this? What does the video look like at high ISOs? Is it usable for YouTube, or is it complete junk? Is it going to be noisy? I don't know. I haven't tested it yet, but that's what we're going to do today. So if you're into that kind of thing, stick around, because that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. Roll the intro. All right, welcome back. So before we get started on the testing, let me explain to you what's going on. So obviously filming on the EOS R5, and on the front of the R5 we have the 16-35 f2.8L, and that is the EF version of the lens. And the reason I'm going with a 2.8 instead of a 1.2 or 1.4 is I feel like more people have access to f2.8s. So if you're thinking of picking up an R5 and you want to do YouTube videos with it, this is what it's going to look like at f2.8 with these ISOs that we go through, and we're going to crank up the ISOs and go all the way to the top. All right, next thing I want to talk about is lighting. So I'm being lit by 3 monitors here, and that's going to be the main lighting source. There's also LEDs. I've got a LifeX bulb in the shelf. I've got a grow light there for the plants. There's some LEDs behind the monitors, and there is a yellow light behind the TV. And I don't think it's making much difference on my face here. Maybe there's a little bit of yellow light, I don't know. But in any case, we are going to test this camera at high ISOs. Then I'm gonna pop the footage on the computer. I'm gonna look at it with you, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts. And you can let me know down in the comments down below if you agree with me or disagree with me, or what your thoughts are on the R5. I'm doing this test because I was considering buying the Sony a7S III. I think that is a low light beast. The R5 is definitely not a low light beast, but can it handle low light? What does the footage look like? You know, can I produce YouTube videos in this kind of lighting? Will it look good? I want to know, because the a7S III looks great, but I'm a Canon shooter. I'm a photographer first, videographer second, so the R5 is my choice. But yeah, let us commence with the testing. All right, so we're gonna start off with ISO 1600. It's a little dim right now. We are shooting at 24 frames per second, 4K, shutter speed is at 50. The lens is set at f2.8 because I want to create a little bit of a bokeh background. And we are gonna keep the lens at f2.8 for the whole test, and when it gets a little too bright, we're gonna add an ND filter to the front of it. So this is ISO 1600. I expect this to be mostly clean. All right, next. All right, so this is ISO 3200. How does this look? Is it clean? I assume 3200 should be good. This camera should be able to handle ISO 3200. What's the detail in the shadows look like? What does my skin tone look like? I assume when the ISO starts getting higher, my skin tones are gonna fall apart, or the texture of the skin's gonna fall apart. So yeah, that's 3200. All right, so now we're at ISO 6400, and if there's one thing I've learned so far during this test is that the R5 is not a good vlogging camera because of the weight. I'm starting to feel it in the shoulder, a little bit of fatigue. I've been holding this up for a little bit, had to do this twice now. But yeah, so this is ISO 6400. All right, so now we're at ISO 10,000, and it's looking a little bit bright, so we are going to see, yeah, I think it's ND filter time, so let's just screw that on the front here. All right, we're gonna set it to the lightest setting. All right, so this is ISO 10,000. It looks really good on the screen here. I like the fact that my face is nice and bright, and it's slightly brighter than the background. And you always want the point of focus in your video to be the brightest point, so it's working, it's looking good. But is it looking good? Is it looking good? We'll see when we pop it on the computer. On the little screen, it looks good, but in real life, we'll see. We'll see. Is this usable for YouTube? All right, so now we're at 12,800 ISO. The background is getting brighter. My face is getting brighter. The shadowy areas are getting a little bit lighter. We can make them darker with the ND filter, but I kind of like it. How does it look? How does it look? Can you see the detail in my beard? Can you see the detail in my face? Can you see the detail in the background? What does my skin tone look like? I don't think there's any ISO that could make this potato head look good, right? But yeah, all right, one more to go. All right, so this is 25,600. It is getting a little too bright, so let's turn this ND filter till we get the right exposure. And the reason I'm turning the ND filter instead of changing the aperture is because I want to keep the shallow depth of field. So I want to keep everything at 2.8, and I'm using the ND filter to expose the video rather than changing the aperture or the ISO. I guess we're testing the ISO, so we're not really going to change it, but I'm getting, that's cool flare here, and I noticed a cool flare there. I like that, but yeah, this is super high ISO. How does it look? How are my skin tones? I don't know, on the little screen it looks fantastic, but I'm pretty sure once I look at this in 4K on my monitor, it's not gonna be so nice. So let's see, let's pop it on the computer. That transition is probably a fail. All right, let's go. All right, don't be silly, yo. Let's look at the video. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. All right, so let's start here. What is this? Yeah. So this is 1600 ISO, and as expected, it's okay. I mean, it's a little dark because obviously the ISO isn't high enough, but in terms of clarity, I think it's good. This is definitely usable, although I would make the lights on me a little brighter, so I would be a little brighter. Other than that, the ISO does look clean. Okay, let's go to 3,200. And let's see if we can, you can see a little bit of the pores of the skin and the detail. The background doesn't look too noisy. We get a little bit of noise here and here, but I would say that this is usable for the YouTubes. By the way, this video that I'm filming right now of the talking head, this is ISO 3200, f2.8, 50th of a second, 50th of a second, if I could speak properly. I think that 3200 is definitely usable here. All right, number next, 6,400. Okay, it's starting to get a little brighter here. Okay, let me think about this. The skin texture is kind of, okay, I shouldn't be in the bright light. Let's go here. Where am I? A little more properly exposed. Okay. There's enough detail everywhere that it's okay. The noise in the background is actually surprisingly good. I was expecting more noise than that. It looks pretty clean to me. Make that a little bigger, and yeah, I think this is definitely usable. This ISO is usable for YouTube. I'm not seeing anything falling apart too much here. Okay, ISO 10,000. 10,000. Okay, I put the ND filter on, and you can see the textures in the jacket are starting to get a little more muddy. You can still kind of make out the hairs of the beard and the mustache. Skin is all right. It's starting to fall apart though. You can see here at 10,000, it's starting to fall apart. But I think this is usable for YouTube. Let me do a little check here, because this is a 4K monitor. If I shrink everything down to like mobile size, a lot of people watch, or most people watch YouTube on mobile. I think that's definitely usable. It'll probably, it'll look a little sloppy, or start to look a little sloppy on a full screen, but I think on mobile, I think it'll be fine. All right, so I think we're hitting the limit here. Okay, 12,800 ISO. All right, so you can see here the noise is starting to appear, although I am really impressed with the noise suppression. I mean, you can see a little bit of noise there, a little bit of noise on top of this potato head, but there surprisingly isn't a lot of noise here. It's not super sharp either. Like you can see In the video, it's not terribly sharp. The beard is starting to lose its texture. The jacket, again, is losing a little more texture. The skin is looking a little too smooth. But I think this is still usable. I think this is usable. Okay, let's shrink it down here. We're just guesstimating mobile size. So if someone's watching this on a phone, it looks a little bit soft, but I don't think it's bad. Wow, okay. All right, that's not bad at all. Okay, this camera is going a little further than I thought it would. All right, 25,600 ISO. Yeah, you can definitely see the grain here. But I adjust that with the ND filter. Oh yeah. Yeah, so this is what I would call noisy footage. This is too much. You know what? Honestly, I would like to get my hands on a Sony a7S III and compare it to the EOS R5 just to see what the difference is, because the a7S III is like a low light beast. The R5 apparently is not a low light beast, but I think it handles itself pretty well, except for this ISO. This is 25,600, but I thought 12,800 was decent. I wonder what the a7S III looks like at this ISO. I'm so curious. So I almost bought the a7S III, but I'm a photographer. So as a photographer, I can use the R5 to make money and pay it off faster than if I bought an a7S III. It would take a lot longer to pay that off with YouTube videos and video work. But yeah, I don't regret the R5 at all. I think I can definitely use it in higher ISO situations. All right, so if you're watching this video, you're obviously interested in EOS R5, so I'm just gonna deviate for 1 second here, and we're gonna look at this camera as a vlogging camera. Right now, I have it set in shutter priority mode, 50th of a second. We're shooting at 24p, 4K, and the IBIS is on the EOS R5, and I have digital IS on because this is not an IS lens. How does it look? My hand is kind of wobbly right now as I move around. Here you can see my pink grow light. I'm growing some plants and selling them on Facebook Marketplace, pothos plants. Got to make a few extra bucks during this pandemic because, you know, us creators, it's not easy being a creator right now, but you know, one day this YouTube channel will show me the do-re-mi. Rome wasn't built in a day, so I just got to keep plugging away, right? So yeah, that's just a little sample of the vlogging ability of the EOS R5. I'll make a full video about the vlogging ability. This is just a little teaser. But now, let me tell you about my conclusions with this high ISO test. All right, so here we are, ISO 4000. And by the way, if you want to see some videos about my plants and also some cooking videos where I cook with models and stuff, check it out. I have another YouTube channel where I'm doing that just for fun. So if you're into that kind of thing and you want to see more of this face doing things, check out that thing because there's me doing things over there. All right, so my conclusions. I think that I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised. There was a lot of negative talk about the R5 and how bad it is at low light, but I don't think it's so bad at all. I think it's actually pretty good. It's on par with what I expected it to be. I think the Sony a7S III is such a low light beast that it raised the bar to such a level that people think the R5 sucks, but I don't think it really sucks at high ISO. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm definitely pleased. I'm pleasantly surprised because now I can make videos like this. I know the background's a little cluttered and everything, but I do like this ambiance. I like shooting natural light with sunlight. I try and avoid studio strobes in my photography, and now I can avoid video lights. I can avoid video lights in my videography and YouTube videos. I kind of prefer this look. I don't know, you guys let me know you guys like this look, where it's a little dimmer and a little more, you know, a little more ambiance, so to speak. But yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with the R5. I think it's the best photo camera Canon has ever made, and in terms of video capabilities, as long as you're not using the 8K or 4K 120 or any of the overheating modes, I think it's a fantastic video camera too. So yeah, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, now it's outro time. Thank you for watching, really appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. I'm really working hard to grow this channel. My goal, personal goal, is to get to 10,000 subs by July 2021. I got 5,000-ish more to go. So if you're into this kind of thing, I'm gonna be doing Photoshop tutorials, Premiere Pro tutorials, photography tutorials, videography tutorials, Lightroom tutorials, behind the scenes with models, photo shoots, that kind of thing. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you like content creation, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of that stuff coming up. I got it all planned. I just have to film it, shoot it, edit it, and get it out there. But yep, it's this YouTube thing has been a fun journey so far. If you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, definitely do it. It's definitely worth it. And with that being said, peace out. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Keep on creating.